The West Side groups, all the groups are supposed to come together, politicians, all the politicians and different organizations to stand up against drugs that's affecting our community. And if we could get a handle on the drugs that's affecting the youth, then we could probably help youth become more employable, and they would probably stop getting backgrounds, and then we can move ahead, and they can do better in school. So it's all about a drug-free West Side.
You name a few organizations that you guys are working with?
Well, I know it's a collaboration with the West Garfield Park Youth Leadership Council, and CAN TV is also one of the partners. Of course, State Rep LaShawn Ford, that's me. And so I don't know who else, but it's a lot of the community stakeholders.
What do you think the importance of something like this is to the community?
I mean, anytime you give the youth a platform to speak, that's great. And they could stand for themselves. That's very important.
Has something like this been done before, or is this the first time you guys are doing something?
I think this is the first time that we've been able to bring something like this together. And it's all because of Fathers Who Care, and that's Reverend Jones. So that's good. I'm happy to be a part of it. We got the governor to do a proclamation for it. And but as you see, it's a lot of young people here, and they're better to speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
What university?
Fun. We hope you take advantage of this opportunity
Absolutely.
and
So
have something to eat.
Absolutely. So can you just go in
He'll tell you
little
that.
detail about what this is?
Oh, you hooked me?
Just
Okay.
for a minute.
Sure. What do you want to know?
What's going on here, and what's the purpose of the gathering right now?
Okay. This is during this time, once a month, the first Monday of each month, we have community stakeholder meetings. The first Wednesday of each month, we have the executive board meeting where we talk about issues in the community. So this is really the bigger forum for the community. And this is our first event, but we're going to recognize people. We're going to do some PowerPoint presentation talking about substance abuse prevention with young kids. So this is pretty much getting together and bringing it out to the kids and getting the adults here to kind of communicate, talk to each other.
First of its kind that you guys
No,
have
we
done?
have done this before, but in this format, this is the first time.
Okay.
We had several meetings, community event meetings. The title has been Closing the Generational Gap. Older folks talking to younger folks. We have like a circle, we sit and we talk, and the older people listen. And so this is not the first one. This is like the fourth or the fifth one we've been doing. But this is new in the format. We have several presentations now. We have presentations on substance abuse, mental health, other things. So
Do the kids work with you guys on? Do you work with them continually? Or?
yes, we actually, this is one of our goals. We want to really get the kids involved.
So you said you guys do work with the kids on a regular basis in different programs.
Part of our mission is to save community, prevent underage drinking and substance abuse. So,
How many kids do you guys work with continuously?
we should have that number. Any kid in the community who's willing to come in, willing to participate. We have a lot of volunteers. All of us, we do volunteer.
If you could spell your name and what your position would be.
Well,
Just give me a card.
yeah, that would be easier. There's not a lot of employment, there are a lot of issues. So if we could address some of those issues, it would help the community.
Much needed. You guys are like one of the few organizations in this community, or
No, there are a lot of organizations, but we are one of the only organization in this community that received the federal funding for underage drinking. There is only 3 agencies in the Chicago area that receive that funding.
Come on up here and have a seat, please. West side, give yourself a hand. Man, I ain't feel that, but this south side up in here, sir? get you talking about that food, boy, I'm telling you, you ain't gonna eat yourself. Anyway, seriously, this is what we want to do. We want to first thank you all for coming out today, and seriously, this event is just that. It's an informative event. Today has been proclaimed. This day has been proclaimed West Side Violence and Substance Abuse Prevention Day. It has been proclaimed by our president. It has been proclaimed by our governor. It has been proclaimed by our mayor. It has been proclaimed by our Cook County president of the board, by our senator, right here, Senator Lightfoot, by Robert Steele, by Earlene Collins, by anybody that's in Dorothy Brown, and you'll hear about all of those proclamations down the road, all right? But this is a serious event, and this is an event that we're going to empower our community. You're going to get a chance, hopefully, to hear from some young people, and I hope you ain't sensitive, because young folks do have their own mind. And every now and then you need to hear them, all right? And you'll hear that down the road. But before we get into that, we want to just take you through a little brief thing. We want to call up our very own here, Pastor Whitley. Whitley, come on up. All right. Pastor Whitley, of course, is the co-chair of the West Garfield Park Community Stakeholders and the pastor of Corinthian Temple and the chairman of the United for Better Living, the Allison Foundation, the facility that you're currently in. And we work collaboratively to make stuff happen on this side of town. So if somebody tell you again that stuff ain't happening on the west side, don't listen to them. All right? Because young folks, what are they doing? You're absolutely right. They tweaking. I know y'all need to say that. But what we like to do, if you don't mind, we would like for our chair here to start us in a prayer. We want to get this thing rolling. Is that okay? Yeah. And trust me, if you're hungry, raise your hand. We get somebody to bring you some over there.
I'm glad my hands sit down. I like that. Thanks, Brother John.
You're welcome, darling. All right, praise the Lord, everybody.
Praise the Lord.
According to Scripture, it's not how much money you have, not how many clothes you have, not even how many friends you have. But as long as you have breath in your body, you are commanded to praise God. So let's give God praise for life. Come on. Before we pray, let's also, in advance, thank God for a safe, healthy, productive community right here on the west side of Chicago. Come on, let's give God welcome you all. We're glad to be here. Teamwork makes the dream work. Out of all of our planning, out of all of our strategizing, may we never forget the secret weapon. And the secret weapon is the power of prayer. I thought I had it. I'm with you, Doc. Go ahead. I'm with you. Is the power of prayer. Y'all know prayer. Yes, they do. So come on, let's pray. Let's, if you don't mind, can you stand? Let's get it. So listen, let me give you some of that housekeeping. Excuse me, you're going to need this. On this side, the first door is the men's door, the second door is the women's. In the hallway out that way, where you came in at, the first door is the women's, the second door is the men's. Just in case you know, that's the restrooms, right? I want to also let you know that the young folks meet every Monday. Young folks, raise your hand. Come on, young folks. The West Garfield Park Youth Council meet, yes, you do. They meet every Monday on Mondays. Every Monday, the young people meet on Monday to talk about things young people deal with. And they even let us come to their meetings sometimes. So every Monday, young folks, there's a place for you. The West Garfield Community Stakeholders meet every first Wednesday at 12 o'clock. It's an eating lunch. Ain't that right, Dr. Shapiro? Yes, it is. We eat good chicken, too. From Uncle Remus, if you didn't know. We like Uncle Remus. All right? On Madison. And Kildare. Right around the corner. Right by the post office. Go over there and spend some money with us. I'm telling you, for real, we like them. Also, the community forum, the West Side Community Forum, is the second Monday of every month. Say second. Second. Okay, let's get started. Without any further ado, I'd like to bring up Dr. Ahmad, who's the other co-chair of the West Garfield Park Community Stakeholders. He's also the administrator of the City of Chicago Supportive Services 10 South Kizzy. Come on, give Dr. Amon a hand. And then sit down to get started.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to do it again because I worse than here. If you don't do it, I'm going to keep saying it. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you feeling? Great. Fantastic. This is a great, great evening. I'm so happy that so many of you are here. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Great, great. I have two requests. All the cell phones and all the phones, please shut them off. Because we have so many great information we can give you once you can hear us clearly. You know when you get distracted by phone calls, there is nothing emergency tonight is going to happen that you need to answer the phone, right? Right? Please. Fantastic. Secondly, everybody received this little thing. It's a survey, correct? Would you please, at the end, take about a minute or two to complete it? Your feedback, your ideas are so important to us. And the third request, please, Mr. Lord, the side talking.
For about 6 months. Since I came for the first time, I was having a problem sitting here. I felt it was already come on here and try to lay out what we have involved.
Can y'all hear? Okay, we're gonna have to hold it down some so we can hear the presentation, all right?
So we got a PowerPoint together for you on the teenage underage drinking. These are some statistics and some facts about alcohol. This is for the youth and some information for the parents. And here we go.
All right, so 3/4 of all 12th graders, over 2/3 of all 6th graders, and nearly 2 in every 5 8th graders have consumed alcohol. With over 10.8 million underage drinkers in the U.S., alcohol has become the drug of choice by American youth.
If I ask you which is the most dangerous drug out there, what do you think? There's a lot of drugs out there, right? But did you know alcohol is the most dangerous drug out there? Why do you think alcohol is the most dangerous drug? Guys, it messes everything inside your organs. All your organs, your brain, your kidneys, your lungs, your heart. And we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Every year, nearly 5,000 people under the age of 21 die as a result of underage drinking. Most of the deaths, approximately 1,900 of those deaths, can be attributed to motor vehicle crashes. Another 1,600 of those are a result of homicides, 300 are a result of suicides, and the others result from injuries from falls, burns, and other accidents. Alcohol has a stronger effect on girls than it does on boys. This is because even if a girl weighs the same amount, she has less water in her body. This is because, for the most part, girls have less muscle tissue than boys. And muscle tissue contains more water than fat tissue.
Is it alcohol affected a female more than a guy? If a guy and a female have a one drink, the same drink, who do you think gets intoxicated faster? The girl. And that's the reason why. Because of the water. Alcohol attaches to the water and rapidly to the body, faster to the organs and to the brain.
Drinking too much can really harm a growing brain. Today we know that the brain continues to develop through the adolescent years into the mid-20s. The prefrontal cortex, which involves planning and decision making, it doesn't completely mature until after the teen years. Using alcohol can harm a teen's ability to reason and weigh out options instead of just doing things because they feel good or they feel fun. Drinking too much, it affects how well a young person judges risks and makes sound decisions. For example, after heavy drinking, a teen might see nothing wrong with getting in the car with somebody who has been drinking or even driving a vehicle themselves. But if they were sober, they might actually take a step back and realize that there's risks involved with drinking and driving. Drinking too much, it also plays a role in risky sexual activity. People do things when they're under the influence of alcohol, even with small amounts of alcohol, that they wouldn't normally do. When they're sober, or they normally wouldn't do when they're sober. This includes having sex, even when they didn't want to, or they hadn't planned on it. This behavior can increase the chance of teen pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV and AIDS. Drinking too much can affect the body in many ways. The effect of alcohol, it ranges from hangovers.
It ranges from hangovers to death from alcohol poisoning.
So, when blood alcohol levels start to rise in the bloodstream, the brain becomes increasingly sedated or drugged. Mental functions are the first to be affected with alcohol. It affects the judgment, and it may lead individuals to take dangerous risks. Often people do things under the influence that they wouldn't normally do sober. For some, this may simply mean that they're more talkative or outgoing. For others, it can have deadly consequences. So the BAC is the blood alcohol content, or it's also known as the blood alcohol concentration. And this is primarily used as a measurement of intoxication for legal and health purposes. It can tell you how much alcohol is in the system, pretty much. The concentration of alcohol in the blood, it continues to rise even after drinking a stops. This is because the alcohol in the stomach is slowly released through the bloodstream.
So this is how
alcohol works. When a person consumes alcohol, takes one drink, 20% of that alcohol goes immediately to the blood and direct to the brain. That's when a person feels a little high, a little buzz, a little sedation. The other 80% goes directly to the small intestine, where from there it will work its way through to the blood. So when you hear a lot of people saying that when they drink on a full stomach, it's better than drinking on an empty stomach, there's a reason why. Because when people drink on an empty stomach, the alcohol, the 80% goes directly goes faster to the bloodstream. And when a person has a full stomach, by the time it passes food and it makes its way to the blood, and then it makes it to the blood. That's how it goes. So when a person gets stopped by the police officers and they smell alcohol and they submit to a breathalyzer, sometimes they get arrested with a BAC below a 0.08. Do you guys know 0.08 was the legal limit to operate a motor vehicle? What is the legal limit to operate a motor vehicle for underage for teenagers? There is none. Zero tolerance.
So in order to monitor your drinking, it's important to know how much alcohol you're consuming. This can be really confusing because different drinks have different levels. But different types of beer, wine, liquor, they contain varying concentrations of alcohol. There are standard sizes, however. There's a standard size bottle of domestic beer, a glass of wine, or a basic mixed drink, and they each contain approximately the same amount of alcohol.
Here's just a little graph of what she's talking about. So 12-ounce can of beer, 5% alcohol, equals to 5 ounces of wine, 12% alcohol, or a shot of tequila or Hennessy or whatever. So this information is just so people won't be confused how much alcohol they're consuming. Okay. I know we're out of time here. I don't know what's our time. How much time do we got left? Zero time. Good. But don't be fooled, guys, all right? Alcohol does hurt. Teenagers, one thing that I have to say to you guys are the next generation. You're the future. What doctor expects from you guys? Think about before you take a drink. I know every time we come here, you guys tell us what you feel and what we can do to help you guys. But we can't do it without you guys. So whatever we can do, please let us know so we can come out and help. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody. Yes.
You didn't mention nothing about alcohol poisoning.
Alcohol poisoning.
Well, we're on time here, but we'll go ahead and
So pretty much alcohol poisoning, it can occur, you know, when you consume massive amounts of alcohol. We do have a slide on it, but we didn't get to that one. You know, it affects areas in your brain because once it reaches your blood, the first thing it does is go to your brain. And it'll start to affect the neurons that control heartbeat and gag reflex. And you might choke on vomit. And that a lot of times that'll result of over a lot massive amounts of drinking.
we have a lot of information here, and these PowerPoints are at your disposition. If you guys need a PowerPoint, a copy, please feel free to let us know. There's a disposition. All right? Thank you very much for having us here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just about alcohol poisoning, the youngest person that I worked with, and I actually observed they had alcohol poisoning, was in another state. He was 9 years old. He drank so much at the same time, he ended up going into a coma. When they called me, it was too late for me to do anything. So when I asked his caretaker, he had about 5 bottles of vodka. He had drank all of it within half an hour. So he got lucky that he wasn't dead. So he went into a severe coma. So that's what alcohol poisoning is. Your body kind of completely shuts down. It, you know. So, okay, great question. Hello? Okay, now, I know we're running really tight schedule. I appreciate all of you being here. I know you're rushing. Would you please give a loud applause for the person sitting next to you? Wonderful. Okay, next, why don't people engage in violence? Benny Lee.
Somebody who's parking in the lots, you know, we want to still be able to move through the lots. So some folks, please, if your car in the lot, we don't want to tow you yet. So we actually need to kind of put your car straight so folks can get back. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, let me say yay vote.
Yay vote.
One more time, yay vote.
Yay vote.
You know what that means? That's a key Swahili term meaning that if you hear something tonight you agree with, or if you hear something tonight you understand, you would say what? Okay. I first want to start off by saying I'm not confused. I know it's through the grace of a merciful God and a praying mother and a father I know in my heart that I'm able to be here with you all tonight. I've been given 5 minutes to give a 2-day presentation. So we kind of condense it down. We asked you to speak about violence. My organization is called NAFI, National Alliance for the Empowerment of Former Incarcerated. And they're going to walk through this PowerPoint as I talk, but I'm not going to read off that PowerPoint. I'm going to be talking and let them use their discretion as they put whatever they want up there. All right? Our organization came about as a result of so many people, primarily on this west side where I come from this drop-in era, First lived 4319 West Van Buren back in 1963 when I went to Heflin School right on Tulsa and Wilcox. Then they built Melody School right off of Keeler and Van Buren. I transferred there in 64, 5. And they had West Garfield Park, Upper Grade Center where Bethany New Life had the building that they used to build. 7th and 8th grade school right there, and then I moved further west, right off Cicero and Jackson, where I went to Bay Elementary School and graduated out of 8th grade. And then we was like the first of the blacks to go to Austin High School in 1968, where I got caught up in a race ride, ended up in a juvenile facility, just for defending myself, trying to go to school. And my life just went upside down from that point on. So that's pretty much what our organization is about, is to get in young people's lives. We have too many grown folks that are ex-offenders. We try to get in young people's lives so they won't become the next offenders. So that's what we do, is engage young people that are living in what they would call high-risk community. This is what you call disorganized community, whereas the community is lacking what you call a guardianship. What I mean by guardianship is that when you live in a community where a person can come in and they can, say, sell drugs, and they can find a target, someone to buy drugs, and now they got an opportunity to set up shop because there's a lack of guardianship. See, these communities don't become gang and drug infested just because they like that. There's a lack of guardianship. No one to challenge that person initially come in, whatever they come in and say, hey, we don't engage in that. In fact, you can take it somewhere. That represents the guardianship. And so these kind of communities where criminals prey on, because they know they can survive in these kind of communities when the community is not saying, we're not going to have this here. Because see, crime is not an isolated thing. A criminal can't be a criminal by himself. You got to have a target, and you got to have an opportunity and a space where he can commit his crime in. So if there's a lack of guardianship, you're going to see crime. And when you see crime, you're going to see violence. So when we deal with people that's got criminal backgrounds, we deal with people that probably have been involved in violence, probably the creators of violence. For example, they say drug selling is a victimless crime. There's no victim involved, right? Because the person that buys the drug in their conscious mind make a conscious decision, I'm going to buy this substance, I'm going to get out. But after they cross that line and become addicted, now they can't stop. So that leads to breaking in people's houses, robbing people, stealing. And if you get caught, now you got a violent act. So somebody gonna bust your head if they catch you stealing from them. They're gonna probably shoot you if they catch you in their house. So that leads to a lot of violence. So my whole point is that we as a community don't represent a guardianship to challenge what we see in the community. We will always have violence, we always have crime. And when it comes to street gangs, like I was part of a street gang. We started just by banding together just to go swimming at Columbus Park. We had to travel from Cicero and Jackson all the way up to Central and Columbus Park and another ethnic group communities back in 1967, 68. And we had to band together just to protect ourselves. And as we came together, we had conflict among each other. And then we started setting up some rules on how we're going to interact with each other. That started shaping the norms of our so-called gang. And then to identify ourselves when we was in other areas, we started dressing a certain way. We became part of a nation, and that nation had a symbol, so we had to embrace that nation. That symbol was going to be part of that nation, right? And so now we run into other groups, and how we dealt with them, it became back, okay, this is how we're going to do this from this point on. So now we got some norms on what we live by. And we respect that because I'm there for you, you here for me. And so we became this game a spontaneous thing, just responding, reacting through conflict. That makes sense? And so that leads to violence too. So now this for the young people, once you become a member of a street gang, the gang controls how you act. A gang determines how you should respond to things, they determine the situations. But this is how we deal with it. No, we don't deal with it like that. So my whole thing with young people is you got to have what you call a family culture value system that you understand. See, I had a family culture value system that I understood. You know, there's certain things my parents expected of me. There's certain things my family expected of me. But I deviated from my family culture value system and lured into a street culture value system. That means I went against what my family expected of me. And once I did that, I was in trouble. And that's what pulled me into street gangs, eventually into prison, into a lot of violence. So young people, you got to hold on. You may not like when guardians put curfews on you and these restrictions on you, because they can see further up the road than you can see. See? And then parents, sometimes we need to allow a safe place for young people to come and just talk about what they're doing. They need a check-in. And what I see what causes a lot of this unmonitored young people is because the dinner table has been taken out the home. So the dinner table is a place where you can come and talk about your day and get challenged on how was your day, how you act at school. You get monitored like that. That's where you develop how to interact, how to get confronted, how to confront. And then these board games, we used to get on the living room floor and play. We learn the social skills, how to interact with people. My father used to say, boy, don't you talk to him like that. Apologize. See, you get that from home. There's an African proverb that says, the ruin of a nation begins in the home of its people. The ruin of a nation begins in the home of its people. Frederick Douglass said, it's better and easier to build strong children than having to repair broken men. It's easier to build strong children than have to repair broken men. But with all of this here, he said too, if there's no struggle, there could be no progress. So we got to understand these things. It takes, a lot of people wanted that saying now, it takes a village to raise a child. But it does. But we got to get back to the village. I don't mean you got to whoop somebody's child because they're wrong, but at least make that parent aware of how their child is acting when they're not in their presence. So the child will know I can't go nowhere unless I'm getting held accountable for my actions. You know, this is not normal. So the norms become everybody turning their head at what's happening. And trust me, young people, they emulate what they see those that 3 or 4 years older than them do. The young people want to do, I mean, you young people can't wait to do something your older brother or sister do. So whatever that older brother or sister doing, that's what they want to do. See, so we got to look at who got the most influence on young people is their older sisters, older siblings. If they don't have older siblings, it's people in the community that's 2 or 3 years older than them. And see, a lot of what happened, I'm going to say this and wrap it up, a lot of what happened is when young people don't have something worthwhile in the community to spend their time doing, when they step outside the home, they become involved with what's happening in the community. So if gangs and drug selling is going on in the community, that's what they're going to get pulled into. So as a community, we got to change the culture of the community by providing opportunity for them to have something to do. And that's what the mentor is all about. I got my brochure there, the Sandman that came with his little my brochure that will be around to tell you a little bit more about what we do at a time. Thank you for listening.
Listen, I want to respect folks' time, all right? So I need to do this here because, you know, it is what it is. Senator Lightfoot, I know we have a resolution section and Alderman Corelli back there. I know you guys got a long schedule, and I want to respect your time. I really do. Senator, would you like to come and give a remark first? We want to bring the senator up. Let's get the resolution senator right there. We should take a little detour right now because, I mean, you understand we do have officials here. They need to go and do what they need to do. But they did stop by, and we want to thank you for that.
It's always a blessing to be amongst our young people, our future leaders. And I need you all to know that you are future leaders. But if y'all talking when I'm talking, you're already listening. There you go. Hey, lady. Good. Good. So what I want to do is present to you the State of Illinois Senate recognition. The Illinois Senate of the 98th General Assembly of the State of Illinois acknowledges the West Garfield Park Community Youth Council in recognition of hosting a community empowerment forum to educate, empower, and recognize the positive efforts of the community, and extends its best wishes for a successful forum, and further commends the West Garfield Park Community Youth Council for its commitment to violence and substance abuse prevention. Offered by Senator Kimberly A. Lightford, John J. Cullerton, Senate President, and Tim Anderson, the Secretary of the Senate. And then I was also, would you like for me to read the proclamation? And Reverend Jones mentioned to you earlier so many community leaders who wanted to recognize today as our effort in reducing violence and substance abuse on the West Side. So I have a proclamation as well, presented by Assistant Majority Leader Kimberly A. Lightford to the West Garfield Park Community Youth Council and stakeholders. Presented this 6th day of October 2014. Whereas the members of the Illinois Senate are committed to improving the quality of all people and communities throughout Illinois. And whereas the West Side of Chicago has been battling violence and substance abuse problems for many years. And whereas many members of the West Side community have dedicated their time and resources to end the scourge of gang violence and drug abuse. And whereas organizations such as the West Side Garfield Park Community Stakeholders, the West Garfield Park Youth Council, and their many partners have joined together in a major, concentrated effort to end violence and substance abuse once and for all. And whereas this coalition of stakeholders have organized a special day to engage, empower, and enlighten the community. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Senate of the 98th General Assembly of the State of Illinois that we recognize October 6th as West Side Violence and Substance Abuse Prevention Day. And be it further proclaimed that a suitable copy of this proclamation be presented to the West Garfield Park Community Youth Council and stakeholders as an expression of our esteem and respect. Offered from me to you, I appreciate what you're doing. If you don't stand up for yourself, no one else is going to stand up for you. You've got to let it be known, young people, that you want to be prosperous. That you, young lady, you're going to be a leader one day because you can't stop talking. So I want you to replace me in the Illinois Senate because when I was your age, I couldn't stop talking either. So I want you guys to know how important it is to take opportunities like this and make something happen from them. Not just let it be you came out tonight, you know, it was a feel-good moment, you listened to a couple great speeches, you know, you eat some Subway, hot dogs. But I really want you to make sure that you take this on and say, I will not be engaged in drug activity. This is about substance abuse. You want to take today and say, I will not be involved in violence. The previous speaker just talked from his own testimony about his life and upbringing and some of the choices that he made that led him into gang activity and becoming incarceration. But that's not the life direction perhaps you should take. But if you don't start thinking now and living it and breathing it and saying, this is not what God has for me, then you don't know what direction you might end up going in. So I want to encourage all of you to know that God has a life-giving purpose for you, and He only wants what's good for all of us. So if you pray, as the preacher said, how many of you guys believe there's power in prayer? Anybody in you? If you really do it, don't do it because grandma say do it. And don't do it say because Big Mama say do it, or Ray Ray and Pookie. Don't do it because Senator Lightford say do it. Do it because you know that that's what you need to fulfill your life. Do it because you know that's what's right for you. So I just want to encourage young people to know that you are our future leaders, and that's why I'm here tonight. I'm especially here because I care about you. I care about your future, and it's what I based my whole professional career on in the Illinois Senate, fighting for education funding for you, fighting for a better opportunity for you. So I'm happy to be here, Reverend Jones. Thank you very much for having me, sir. To all of you tonight, God bless you, and they see us. And if we act a fool as adults, that's what we're showing them. So until we can come together and show them as adults, then we're not going to lead by example. So I just want to speak to the adults too, because sometimes we don't know how to come together. And so it's crucial for our kids. They are in crises. Our kids are in crises like none other. And we have to take charge. And we have to lead by example. So coalitions like these are important, but we can't just leave tonight and then be over. And that's just the end. If there's drug activity on your block, report it. If it's domestic violence down the street, don't act like you don't see that beat up, abused woman. She needs help. Give her some guidance. We have to come together to save our town. We do. We have to come together to save our community. So that's why I'm here, because I believe in it. And my family, and you know, fruit don't fall from the tree from none of us. We all were just a day away, right? And you never know. You never know, so you want to make the best of whatever it is God has for you. I brought my son here tonight. He's 13 years old, and I wanted him to be a part of listening to substance abuse and violence prevention. Because sometimes I get home, it looked like when I had a glass of wine, it looked like it was a little lower than where I left it. Look at his face. I just thought I would break the ice, baby. I thought I would just break the ice. No, I'm serious. Everything I'm saying to these kids here, like they mine, I say it to my own child. So I just want that to be known. I'm not going to tell nobody else kids nothing that I won't say to my own. So God bless all of you. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's give a singer another hand, too. Hey, listen, ladies, when y'all finish, y'all come on back. I see you walking out. Come on back. When you finish playing with them phones. No more Facebooking tonight for you. Listen, we want to kind of move on a little bit because we have a lot of stuff going on. And we want to try to bring up those who are here with proclamation so we can get back into the flow. Is that all right? Because there is a flow to what we're doing. The flow is that we're here today to proclaim West Side Violence and Substance Abuse Prevention Day. So we really want to stop. Okay? Alderman Ferretti, can you come on and give us a brief comment, please?
Thank you, everybody, and thanks for letting me be here. First of all, I think we should give the senator another round of applause. He said everything I was going to say, so I can sit down.
Get the mic back.
Yeah, the senator, and for all the young people in the audience, it's important to realize what she was talking about, funding, and if you see things on your block, report them. If you see, if you have issues of domestic violence in your community or even in the family, you know, we got to make sure that people have the help. Now, she's been a fighter for a long time in the Illinois Senate, since 1998, I believe, and she's the assistant majority leader, and she wields a lot of power. But she has been fighting for our communities here for a long, long time. And so we got to appreciate everything she does, and Senator and I really do, and not just on the funding, but on the foreclosure issues and issues that affect us, what the banks have done to our communities especially. Thank you very much. And I want to say, I did write a letter of support to Reverend Jones about the Violence and Substance Abuse Prevention Day. And I said to him in the letter, I'm writing to thank you for your efforts to reduce the risk of substance abuse and promote safety in our communities. Through leadership and partnership, you have worked to create this evening's collaborative event that brings people together across generations to address this issue. You understand the needs to listen to the voices of our young people
and to be able to work together as a community to propose solutions and identify resources. And I am pleased to support these efforts. I expect tonight's event to inspire and empower those that are in attendance, and I look forward to the fruit that it will produce in the future. Thank you again for what you have been doing to enhance the lives of our youth and move our communities forward. And I sincerely mean that, Reverend Jones. And I say this as a lawyer. I've been on many sides of the issue of substance abuse. You know, I once represented a lot of family, a lot of people that got into trouble with DUIs. And I had a very unbroken stream of winning cases in the trial court. In fact, I won 14 straight cases on DUI issues. And then came to me a family that were actually four people were in a car, 2 of them were underage. They were picked up at a place on the south side where they were working by 2 older people. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. They were all driving home. At 159th in Harlem, a young man who was a Chicago police officer. He's in Orland. They had been drinking all night long and came into the intersection at 93 miles an hour. Hit the car at 89 miles an hour. His legal limit was way over. Now, he was a Chicago police officer. He had a beautiful life ahead of him. The 2 kids, he killed 2 of the kids. One of the front people has permanent brain damage, and the other driver has a short-term memory loss. Now, I represented the families, and I got to tell you, they were of Arab descent, which also posed problems because people said, well, why are you representing? I will tell you from that experience, I would never represent another DUI again, because I saw what the trauma was to the families and to the people. We went to court often, and you know what? I've seen how the court has affected me and it affected other people. But the young Arab families had difficult problems dealing both with the state's attorney and with the sheriff's office. But we showed up every day when the case came to court. And what I do want to say, the police officer probably got the longest sentence for a young man, 23 years old. He was just recently released after serving 8 years of his sentence, I believe in December. He will never again, you know, really, he's out there, what he does is now talk about against drunk driving and making sure his mother became the Mothers Against MAD, and I can't remember that, what they stand for, and AIM, those that are opposed to on the issue. You know, whether you're drinking in school, whether you're taking drugs in school, you affect everybody around you. You affect your families. I'm in touch with the mother. I've been in touch with the mother and the families, both the mother of the police officer and the families, since that time. You know, you see the destruction that's caused by alcohol, especially abuse. When we said that to start off, because alcohol has a lasting, much more difficult effect. We all think it's fun, and you know, we all of us that are older than 21 grew up and we know what it means. But the truth of the matter is it has a lasting, devastating effect on all of us. So I am proud to be here tonight to support not only our letter, to support our senator for what she did, and to support those that are trying to educate. And you know, sometimes it goes in one ear and goes out the other. We all know that because as we've been growing up, we sometimes don't take it to heart. But we need to take the lessons to heart. This is serious, serious, serious. And we've got a long time to live, so let's enjoy every way we can, and let's all go forward. Thank you.
Let's give it over to another hand. Hey, listen, check it. We got a drum call coming up. We got spoken word coming up. We got Dr. Shafir coming up. Look, I got to go ahead and present this straight out.
We got our clerk, Dorothy Brown, come on up with this proclamation from the clerk, the salute. We're gonna go and get this out the way right quick. Is that all right? Right now we got Vance Henry. Where are you, Vance? Vance over there. Vance is from the mayor's office with the proclamation. You all know Vance, right? Come on, give Vance a hand. Vance, we thank you so much for coming out. Excuse me, young folks over there, can you all come on over and have a seat? It's all good in here. You're great. Come on in. See, that's what you thought. You thought the folks weren't coming, didn't you? I knew they was coming. They just had to get on. You understand? Come on in, babies. Have a seat. It's all good. Have a seat where you find a seat. Because this is your night. Come on in. So now we got the from the United States. Come on, let's give Obama a hand. This is the proclamation from our president. Is that good? Okay, let's give another hand to our governor for the governor's proclamation for the state of Illinois. Okay, let's give another proclamation for Tony Prattwinkle. All right, of course. And now let's hear from, we got a proclamation from Derek Smith. Is Representative Derek Smith here? We have the representative's proclamation, resolution, and now let's hear from the clerk.
Salute. Whereas West Garfield Park Community Stakeholders is hosting the Community Day, a collaborative event with the Youth Council and other Westside partners of the Linden Foundation for Better Living. And whereas the mission of the Community Day is to engage, empower, and enlighten local residents on ways to promote a safe and drug-free community, while bridging the intergenerational gaps to reduce underage drinking, substance abuse, and senseless violence. And whereas people of prayer, hope, faith, commitment, and leadership are encouraged to support the mission of Community Day and work together to bring sustainable, positive change to the West Garfield Park. And whereas the Office of the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County is honored to provide resource information on domestic violence awareness and expungement service at the Community Day. Now, therefore, I, Dorothy Brown, the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, and official keeper of the records of all jurisdictional matters brought into one of the largest unified court systems in the world, do hereby salute the West Garfield Park stakeholders on this occasion of Community Day. Thank you.
Come on, thank you so much. Let's give our clerk a hand. Now we got some other things going on, but we want to get back into the flow if you all don't mind. So can we get those folks out there, if you don't mind, Brother Jessup? Those individuals out there, can you ask them to come on back in, please? Because we want to keep it moving. Young folks over there, can you all come over here and have a seat? Please, come over here and have a seat.
And that is Dr. James' name. My first name is pronounced Rashad, and my last name is pronounced Sophia. Yes. Okay. Thank you all. I'm happy to be here. I am the president and CEO of the Bobby E. Wright Comprehensive Behavioral Health Center. We're located at the intersection of Kedzie and Madison, 9 South Kedzie, directly across the street from 10 South Kedzie. We've been there at that location for 43 years now, and we provide a full array of mental health, substance abuse. We also provide services for those who are dealing with developmental disabilities, intellectual challenges, and so on. So I just wanted to give you a little bit about Bobby Wright, who we are and where we are. The purpose of my being here this evening is to talk to you about mental health. And so when I say mental health, what is the first thing that comes into your mind? Crazy? Come on. Issues? Come on. Unstable? Come on. Confused? Challenged? Come on. Give me more. Depression? Okay. Stress? Special? Okay. So that's what comes to your mind when you hear the word mental health. A very good friend of mine recently concluded some work that he was doing for the military. And his first day on base, he introduced himself to a young soldier. And the soldier said, "Oh, so you're a psychologist?" He said, "Yes." He said, "So what are you doing here?" He says, "Well, you know, my job is to address the mental health concerns of soldiers." And he said the soldier almost had a knee-jerk reaction. He says, "I don't have no mental health." And so what you all just told me, again, is that part of the reason why we in the community have such a difficult time addressing issues related to our mental health is because when we hear mental health, the things that come to our mind are anti-mental health, okay? Mental health, let me put it this way. If I had asked you what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word physical health, you would have said, good. Workout, feeling good, healthy, food, Gatorade, okay? You would have said all those things that were positive related to your physical health. Yet when we think about mental health, we think about all those things that are negative, okay? So we have a huge stigma that is associated with mental health that interferes with people seeking out help when they have a mental health related concern, okay? So here's the answer. You anticipated that. That's wonderful. Mental health is a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to her or his community. And this is the definition by the World Health Organization. I didn't just make it up. Okay, so that's what mental health is all about. Next slide, please. So let's break it down in terms of what that definition says. Some of the key words in the definition include the idea of well-being. And I'll break well-being down into three fundamental things. One, it's about being satisfied with who you are, where you are, and with what you're doing. If any of those three things are, as I say, out of whack, then your mental health has been affected, okay? You're not feeling good about who you are, then you're not likely to be thinking the kinds of positive thoughts and engaged in the kinds of positive behavior that's consistent with mental health. Okay, potential refers to the possibility of something becoming a reality. People who are mentally healthy believe that they can go out and do things, that they can accomplish things, okay? They have hope for the future. And so we find that in our community, there's far too much hopelessness and helplessness, and that this gets learned from a very early age. Okay, the other key phrase in that definition was to work productively, to create or develop something of value, to create or develop something of value, okay? Are drugs a thing of value? No. Drinking alcohol, is that a thing of value? No. Okay? If we're going to create something of value, it means that we create something that's going to have a positive impact, not only on ourselves, but within the community. Next slide, please. Fruitfully, okay, producing good results. To make a contribution is to give to others. And then community is basically a social group of people who live in the same place or area and share common cultural and historical roots. Okay? So we have a lot of people who live in neighborhoods in Chicago, but they're not communities. They share the same space, but they don't share the same attitude. They don't share the same cultural beliefs, okay? They don't have the same common values. They simply live in the neighborhood. Like Benny Lee said earlier, okay? There's no guardianship within the community. There's no guardianship within the neighborhood because there is no community. Next slide, please. Okay, so when I think of mental health, I think of mental health as occurring along a continuum. Okay, y'all know what a continuum is? It starts at one end and ends at the other. Maybe it starts at the negative end and ends up at the positive end. Okay, so on the positive end of the continuum, we have this sense of well-being. We have mental health. And on the negative end of the continuum, we have a lack of well-being, which may be mental health related problems, or at the far end of that continuum, we're talking about mental illness. So mental health is something that has to be actively nurtured, okay? It requires your active participation and your active involvement in maintaining that state of well-being. Mental illness is too late almost, because at that point, now we need treatment. So if we're going to develop positive mental health within the community, we need to start with young people.
All right.
We need to start actually before birth.
Yeah, boy.
Okay? And we need to make sure that we have things in place that nurture that sense of well-being across the entire lifespan. That's where we have failed as a community, is because we've not made the commitment to our young people to ensure that they have access to the resources that are necessary in order for them to maintain that positive sense of well-being.
All right.
And a lot of what they experience with regard to a lack of well-being, unfortunately, occurs within our own homes. Too much violence in the home in the form of discipline, okay? Discipline, I knew you were gonna do that, but I gotta do this, okay? Discipline, when I say discipline, the first thing that comes to your mind, I'm not gonna ask you, I'm gonna tell you, the first thing that comes to your mind is whooping. That's discipline, okay? Discipline, listen to this definition. Discipline is a process of training the mind and building character. That's what discipline is. Discipline means teaching, and it means repeating yourself. But we say, I told you once, I'm gonna tell you again. But if you're going to teach a child discipline, you have to be willing to repeat yourself. Next slide, please. Okay. So this slide just kind of outlines things that are necessary for maintaining yourself. You went one slide further. I caught you. So let me just give you a few pointers. One is surrounding yourself with good people. Be careful of who you decide to associate with. Okay? Make a choice that I'm going to hang with this group because they're getting good grades. I'm going to hang with this group because they're into something positive. Those are choices that you make, okay? One, the next one is avoid alcohol and other drugs. That's what this whole evening has been about, okay? You cannot maintain positive mental health when your body is filled with mood-altering substances.
That's right.
You cannot do it, okay? And if all of the above don't work, call us at Bobby Wright, 773-722-7900. Thank you for your attention. I hope you got something out.
I want to make sure that we do acknowledge you, Doc, and those who presented, because, listen, we appreciate you.
And anytime, I need to say this to you, every time we need you, you always come out. So we definitely want to just give you a token of our appreciation, both of you guys. So can we get a, do you mind if we change the tone and get a drum line going up in here for a minute, y'all? Someone come on, do me a little favor. David, I'll help you out. Did you present? You finished? You good? You never got in? Well, you next. How about that? Come on, David. And he looked good too, don't he? I can't let go of my mentee. This is my mentee, and I gotta let him have his moment because he did look. He cleaned up good, don't he?
Go ahead, David. We got to get David's piece in there. We have to wait on you other folks. I'm sorry.
Go, David.
Good evening, everyone. My name is. I said good evening, everyone. Hello. My name is David Elam. I'm the president of the West Garfield Park Youth Council, and I'm here to present a PowerPoint on bridging the intergenerational gap to promote a safe and drug-free community. Also, the title of this is called What You Should Know What Young People Know. So in that saying, this PowerPoint will educate those to better communicate with young people and get a better understanding about what young people are doing, what they're involved in, and things like that. How can you better communicate with a young person if you don't know what they're talking about? Okay. What is bridging the intergenerational gap? Teens communicating with mature adults, sharing ideas and experiences in an effort to promote and create a safe and drug-free community. Understanding young people's language and the use of social media. Communication among young people is no longer limited to just talking on the phone or emailing. The advancement of technology over the past 5 years has created many unconventional forms of communication that are especially appealing to the younger generation and becoming the norm. Here's some of the resources and outlets that the young people are using today. We communicate through video messaging, picture messaging, instant messaging, and cell phones. For example, a few instances of video messaging: FaceTime, Snapchat, Uber, Skype, instant messaging, Facebook and Twitter, inbox. Picture communication, where you communicate through pictures, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. And of course, the cell phone, texting, and FaceTime. Teenagers use acronyms, trend words, and slang as form of everyday communication. Oftentimes, a traditional word is given as a nickname, which is then turned into the trend word. Specific, single ideas or expressions are also given trend words, where one or two words represent the whole idea or situation. Some trend words and expressions that we use today so you can better understand when you hear these terms, you'll know what we're talking about. Crib, everybody heard the word crib. A crib, that's slang for your house. Sup, maybe like sup, is hello. Fifi, that's another word for party. Op, that's another word for enemy. Twerk, that's a dance. God forbid, we don't want no twerking up in here. Butter, that means you ugly, you out of there. Soft means you weak. Guap means money. Tweak means crazy. Some twin expressions. Swerve means get away. Turn up means getting into a party mood. Doing too much, you overdoing it. And keeping it 300, you being real. Bridging the intergenerational gap encourages young people and adults to keep each other informed on different languages, trends, so that we can better communicate with each other, because after all, how can two generations work closely together and help their community if they can't communicate and understand each other? Bridging the intergenerational gap to promote a safe and drug-free community. Informing adults about street drugs and their effects is crucial in protecting the people in our community. This portion of the PowerPoint, I will now be informing you about the different substances in the neighborhood and the effects of the substances in the area. Drugs affecting young people in Chicago. We have here alcohol. Some effects of alcohol are slurred speech, drowsiness, vomiting, impaired judgment, and coordination, blackouts. Over here, we have a popular drug known as lean, aka purple drink. Lean is consumed and mixed with a mixture of codeine medicine with soda and candy to create a colored taste. The reason why they call it lean, yes, I did my homework, is because when consumed, you consume so much you literally have to lean on something to stay up. It's just that effective. Molly, aka MDMA, that's the medical terminology for it. Man-made pill using a mix of toxic chemicals and MDMA, the main ingredient used for ecstasy. Some effects of Molly are rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure, blood vessel constriction, seizures, and psychosis. Marijuana, most popular one of them all, aka loud. Some effects are brain abnormalities, lung damage, psychosis, nerve cell damage, respiratory problems. Heroin, some effects of heroin. Disorientation, sudden changes in behavior, shortness of breath, paranoia, incoherent speech. Cocaine, some effects of cocaine. Tremors, convulsions, paranoia, cardiac death, anxiety. Tobacco, some effects of tobacco. Heart disease, emphysema, bronchitis, chronic airway obstruction, and causes different types of cancer. Crocodile, desomorphine, aka crocodile. I should have warned y'all, the PowerPoint does get a little graphic. That's because y'all need to see this. Y'all need to see what these substances do to you if you take this and you do these things. Codeine, gasoline, paint thinner, hydrochloric acid, iodine, and red phosphorus from match head. These are the typical ingredients in a street drug known as crocodile, a highly addictive toxic cocktail that is 3 times cheap to produce as heroin and is becoming an international problem. What does crocodile do? What makes this drug so obsessively strange, however, is that once injected, it begins eating the user's body from the inside out, causing blood vessels to burst and surrounding tissues to die. Essentially, a cohesive acid and opiate effects, crocodile destroys body tissue the way battery eats through the plastic, opening large sores that go all the way through the bone. Prescription drugs. Prescription drugs, also prescription medication or prescription medicine, is a licensed medicine that is regulated by legislation to require a medical prescription before it can be obtained. The term is used to distinguish it from all over-the-counter drugs, and that can be obtained without a prescription. This is a little thing I pulled up, some of the effects that you get from taking prescription drugs: dizziness, blurred vision, drowsiness, dry mouth, flushing, cold sweats, pale, fast heartbeat, fruit-like breath odor, troubling breathing, diarrhea, and things like that. This is a map I pulled up of some of the drugs that people take, and this is a graph from 2012 showing you the percentage of drugs that's being used, with marijuana being the highest. Also, this is another one, the top drugs among 8th graders and 12th graders in 2013. These are some of the substances that the young people are getting involved with, as you can see again. 8th grade and 12th grade, the highest drug that's being consumed amongst young people today is marijuana. Once again, young people can't be what they can't see. This saying is, you can't be what you can't see. So if you're not around positivity and you consume yourself with negativity, you will be negative. But I guarantee you, if you get around those positive people and you consume yourself with positivity, you will be excellent and you will be great. Thank you.
I need to say this, that young fella there has been mentored and nurtured by the likes of myself, Benny Lee, and a lot of folks around this room, and we want to thank you, David, for the work that you do. Give another hand, y'all. There's some good things on the west side of Chicago, and what you talking about. Listen, listen, without any further ado, and I know you don't get this often, but I got to bring up my congressman. Come on up, Congressman.
This is our Congressman Danny K. Davis. And of course, we have our acknowledgement from the Congressman, among other things. But we just want the Congressman to come out and talk to us about this West Side Violence and Substance Abuse Prevention Day, which I'm telling you up front, this is the hardest working congressman in the United Senate. And I'm saying the Congress of the United States, this is the hardest working one that we know on this side of the Jordan. How about that?
In the United States, how about that?
Thank you, Walter. I tell you what, I'm not going to be very long, but I am excited, I am delighted, and I am pleased to see this kind of interaction taking place. Doesn't matter who put it on. In this instance, it's good to be at the Allison Foundation because they do so many wonderful things. It's good to see Walter Jones because he does so many great things. It's good to see all of you. And I noticed the presenter who just left was talking about external stimulation that people oftentimes think they need. And that's no different than every generation that there has been. I was thinking when I was a kid, we used to take antiseptic, Dr. Tishner's, the antiseptic, put it in a Coke, shake it up, and drink that. And try to get a little, there you go. That's what we would do. We would take a Coke and antiseptic. Sometimes we would take vinegar and mix that up with some hot sauce and stuff. And just add a little, another dimension to whatever it was that we were. And then, of course, we started smoking cigarettes. My sister and I started smoking cigarettes when we were about 13, 14. My daddy smoked Campbell's. And we would steal his cigarettes out of the pack and then push the pack forward so it looked like he had cigarettes left. But there would only be a few left in there because we would have taken all the rest. We thought that smoking cigarettes would make you tall, dark, and handsome. I was always the youngest person with the kids that I ran with because I graduated from high school when I was 15 years old. I graduated from college when I was 19 years old. And so growing up was kind of tough because I always had to act older than I actually was in order to be part of the group. My best two friends all through high school, one was 6'5", and the other one was 6'6". And so I had to try to keep up with them. My greatest feeling of accomplishment was when I made the basketball team and got my jacket. Fortunately, I didn't have a problem with academic stuff because I learned to read at an early age, and I liked it, and I read everything I could get my hands on. Didn't matter what it was. I just read, plus it interested me, whatever it was. Even the Bible. I used to read the Bible for hours at a time. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Esther, Job, Ecclesiastes, Psalms, after we stopped drinking at intercession. I'm saying, we just kind of did it in terms of thinking that life was not exactly for us what we wanted life to be. Plus, we learned poetry. Didn't have no money to buy your girlfriend nothing if you went out on a date. So you had to do something to keep her entertained. And so you learned stuff. Shall I compare thee to a summer day? Thou art far more lovely and more beautiful. Rough winds may shake the garland buds of May, but your beauty is here to stay. Are you teller walking out picking wildflowers? You know, a jug of wine, a piece of bread. With you by my side, put me in the woods. I'll call it paradise. And so you learn to make use of whatever it was that you had. So the only thing that I need to say, or want to say, or have to say, try to understand, my grandson and I are having an argument now about how he wears his hair. He's got 13 years old. And he asked me the other day, he said, Granddad, could you give me some money to get my hair cut? I said, yes, I'd be delighted. Because could you do me a favor and get some of it cut off? So if we could, he said, well, Granddaddy, why can't I decide how I want to wear my hair? And I said, Granddaddy wants you to be as happy as you can be. But Granddaddy also wants you to know that we live in two different worlds. One is the world of time, and the other one is the world of eternity. Granddaddy wants you to know that you can even have 2 or 3 different languages. One that you use for one thing and another that you use for the other. I used to fancy when I used to teach school, teaching my students to extrapolate from slang normal English. For example, if you say something like, I'm going to the crib to peck, well, you had to know what that meant. Translated, it really meant I'm going home to have dinner. In some places, it'd be fine. I'm going to the crib to peck. In other places, you would need to say, I'm going home to have dinner. Some of the language, somebody called me a dog. It's hard for me to imagine that as a compliment. Hey, dog. You know, I'd rather that they just say, what's up, bro? Or something, rather than, hey, dog. I purchased something, I'd much rather for the person to say, pardon me, sir, could I help you? And they say, hey, buddy, what you want? It offends me. If I go in the store to make a purchase, and the clerk says, hey, buddy, Bub, they used to say, uncle, or whatever. So my message, if I had one, is simply be good to yourself. Listen to what your teachers, parents, and other people older than you have to say. I mentioned that I've done a lot of reading in my life, but I ain't never read any place in history where children ran the society, or where children were the ones who decided what was going to go on. When I was a child, I thought as a child. I acted like a child. But when I become a man, I put it away childish things. And I live the way I've been taught to live and to understand. So this was just a letter that I guess I responded to Reverend Jones back in September, which said, I'm delighted to join you in calling for Monday, October 6th, 2014 to be a day dedicated to highlighting a community response to violence and substance abuse. I'd much rather love somebody than hurt them. I'd much rather be thinking of myself as a lover rather than a hater. I'd rather help my brother than to make fun of whatever problems. You know, I notice some kids, if something happens to another person, they laugh about it. It's funny. I am so glad that that has never been my demeanor as long as I can remember. I never enjoyed seeing anybody else have a mishap or seeing anybody else be the butt end of jokes. When I tell a joke, it's generally on me. Very seldom will you hear me joke about somebody else. If I feel the need to joke, start early in life to knowing that there are things that you want to be and that you want to be able to contribute. I leave you with this little poem, and it simply says, if I can't be a pine at the top of the hill, be a scrub in the valley, but be the best little scrub by the side of the wheel. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the moon, be a star. It's not by size that you win or fail, but be the best, the very best of whatever you are. Don't compare yourself to other folks. Just be you. Be the best you that you can ever be. God bless you, and thank you so much for welcoming me.
Give the Congressman another hand. Congressman, we would be remiss if we didn't give you a certificate of appreciation for your ongoing support to the residents of the West Side, particularly the West Garfield Park community, for your ongoing leadership, your ongoing mentorship, your ongoing support. So we present this certificate of appreciation to you, Congressman, on October the 6th, 2014, for your ongoing dedication to the community. And we want to give you your own personal West Garfield Park community t-shirt. This is yours.
On behalf of Dr. Spear, who runs the Barbara Wright Noon Health Center, probably as close to being as old as I am. Jason Irwin, who's not nearly as old as I am. I'm actually about his dad's age, and his daddy and I were peers as we both were young men living and working in this community. On behalf of Mr. Johnson, whom I've known for such a long period of time, and all of those who have struggled to try and help Mildred Wiley, who we call the lady of the community, the lady of the West Side, and Kathy Allison and others. I accept this t-shirt, and you almost waited too late to give it to me because it's wintertime.
That's my home. You can wear it in the office.
I'll save it. This night got cold. I need a sweatshirt.
Well, we're going to have to get you one. Come on, give the Congressman another hand. Thank you, Congressman, for stopping by. We're going to finish eating. Now, come on, we want to call up our aldermen from this ward, our aldermen from the 28th ward, the aldermen, our committeemen, Jason Irwin, who has been nothing but supportive of this community and the residents of this community. Thank you, aldermen.
Thank you, Reverend Jones, and I don't know why you took me up to speak after Congressman Davis. I don't have a long litany of poems to read or things to say. I can rap for a young lady. I can rap, but as far as this about hip hop stuff, I'm not that in tune to that. I also submitted a resolution. I won't read through all of it, but again, that we just want to commemorate the day for substance abuse. And from what I was listening to, what David Elam did, I thought was an excellent presentation brought by one of our young people. So sometimes it takes young people to reach young people. So for the things that he talked about and explained, I thought was a very excellent presentation. And again, this is what we have to do as elders to help our young people grow, learn, so that they can come back in the community and be of service to us all. So again, just want to thank you all for the work that you're doing. Reverend Jones, continue to stay on the wall and do what you're doing out here for our young people. Every time I see him, he's got 5 or 10 young folks with him. Walking around, running around. Everywhere I go, if I'm at an event, I see him, he got his camera, and he got some cameras. So those 2 things he will have with him when he's out in the community, which is good because we need more men to spend time with our youngsters. And it takes a man to make a man. I've never seen boys just all of a sudden come up and be men without some help and some mentorship, because when men stand up, boys will sit down, listen, and learn. So again, just want to thank you for what you're doing, and again, thank the West Garfield Park community stakeholders and the work that you're doing around substance abuse, as well as with the alcohol awareness. It's something that is definitely needed in the community. A lot of people don't know the effects of marijuana. They don't know the effects of alcohol, the effects of lean, and the effects of all of the mollies and everything until it's too late. When somebody is on their way to the penitentiary, or someone's on their way to the cemetery, it's too late to understand the need of what it is then. We need to know that going in. So again, thank you all, and God bless you. And I appreciate your support as we support the efforts in helping build our community here in West Garfield Park. Thank you.
Well, we can't let you get away either, because we do appreciate, first of all, we want to thank you for the resolution, all the support you're giving us, but we also want to thank you for expediting the proclamation through the mayor's office as well, and for what you've been doing in the hearings on the community, on hot spots and things of that nature. So folks don't really know what you do, but we want to acknowledge you and just give you a certificate of appreciation for the support you've given to us, the support you've given to the young folks. We want to acknowledge you on this day, and we want to give you your t-shirt. So give our alderman a hand, please. Thank you so much, Alderman.
What was I doing with this show, man? I thought we was cool, man. I thought we was cool. I'm gonna give this to my nephew when I get to the house.
We got your shirt. Hey, David, somebody help me, please. We got you covered, Alderman. But let's do this. We're going to get our group in right now. And what we want to do quickly, if we can, we want to hear something from our young folks over here. Our young folks who's going to give us some flavor. After which we're going to get into some other spoken word. And we're going to have some fun and close this thing down properly. Is that all right? Are you having some fun? Come on, turn up a little bit or you ain't getting no hot dogs. Are you having some fun? Because you already ate.
Hello everyone. My name is Andrew Elbert. I'm a music teacher for the Stegman Studio of Music. It's a not-for-profit 501c3 in Oak Park. And I have some of my long-term drumming students here with me today. Let's give it a hand for the foreigners. They're our brothers and sisters. They've been taking class from me for about 6 or 7 years. And we have some information and a poster board over there. We run a lot of programming in terms of music education and leadership opportunities and mentorship and whatnot. We've been around. We do a drum therapy at a facility in Cicero. We've been over at a couple churches on Chicago, right here near Cicero. And in terms of drug and alcohol and violence prevention, I'm not going to say much because I'm just a music teacher, but I do know in terms of my own music teaching experience, saying no is kind of a negative avenue. And in my own experience, teaching someone to do something instead of not doing something is very important and can be really significant in terms of helping them focus. What to focus on. Focusing on not doing something is much more difficult than focusing on doing something. So in terms of that, I don't know if you can take that as you go, but that's been one of the major lessons that I've learned over about 10 years of teaching. And that's all I'm going to say. We're going to give you some good music. We're going to play a few rhythms and show you one of the amazing things music is in terms of giving young people an opportunity to do something outside of those things that we don't want them to do. Music's wonderful. And in terms of violence and community, playing music is the epitome of working together. And when you play music together, you're making a series of agreements with each other. That we're going to do this thing at that time. We're going to do this thing at that time. I do a lot of teaching of African drums. And African drums is especially unique because one person can't represent all the music. It takes a whole group of musicians to be able to represent the whole music, the whole sound of the rhythm. So music and athletics and things of that nature are definitely the antidote and the remedy for a lot of the things that we're talking about tonight. So without further ado, the Steckman Studio Music Saturday class drummers, enjoy.
Thank you so much. Oh, here go Howard right here. Where she go? Where she go? Get us this. Laurel? That's Howard. Give it to Laurel. Who is this? Stephen Lewis, where are you? Stephen is our vice president. Come on, Steve. Right here, right here. Oh, let's go right there. Uh-oh, yes you can. Faye Robertson, where are you, Faye? Come on, come out there. Faye? Faye, Kiana, come on, Kiana, where you at? Come on, Miss Key. Kathy, can you come do us a favor and grab this one for Pastor Whitley? This is for Pastor Whitley. Okay, we put that over there for Whitley. That's for Faye over there. Camilla, where she's at? Can't find her. Nisi, come here. Where you at, Nisi? Nisi. I see Bill. Nisi. Is Nisi in there? Where are you, Nisi? No, she got to give us some spoken word before she leaves. Okay, will she be back in a second? So who did we do this? Okay, we call everybody. So let's do this here then as we... Come on, Deborah. Y'all got Deborah? Call your baby up. Call your baby up, Deborah. Now listen, this is what we're doing. Deborah has been instrumental in helping us to take some young folks. Listen up for a minute, son. Have a seat. That's my son now. Have a seat. Deborah has been instrumental in taking some young folks with us tomorrow as we're going to go to UIC to hang out with Michelle Obama. That's her. That's what she did. That's what she did. So young folks who may have never got a chance to get out and never got that close, we're going to get a chance. Please do me a favor, introduce your daughter.
Hello everyone. I had to sneak out and just went and did a walkthrough for the event to make sure we know we're going to be hosting tomorrow for the volunteers for the event for tomorrow. So I just want to hurry up and get back. And I